Welcome back to Shadow Phoenix Tarot. I'm Dory, and we're going to be continuing our study of the cards in the Minor Arcana. Right now, we're going to be studying the pit cards of Swords, the suit of Swords, and that's going to be Ace through 10. If you have not read or watched the one on Wands, go back there because I did some introductory information, so make sure you catch up on that. So again, Swords is going to be about the sign of air. They're going to all be doing relating to logic, thought, and communications. And the Ace card, the Ace of Swords, has a crown on its head. Well, I mean its head, the top of it. And it's going to be very active energy, very fast moving, and very swift. Fire energy, I think, is more powerful. Air energy is much more swift. Like speed of light, because again, it's going through the air and it's light. It's not grounded. It's completely like the lightest element, I think, in the elements. And this is going to be for a newfound truth that you may have recently learned. Is going to be for some new information coming out. This could be indicating some new communication coming toward you, that you are learning a new method of communication, that you're having a new thought pattern, you had a new idea, and that you may be moving into like a new thought pattern. If you have really old thought systems, you've really struggled to get out of some like maybe bad belief systems, limiting belief systems, some really entrenched habits of thought where like maybe you're negative or a victim, and you're going to be going into more of an empowered way of thinking or a more manifesting way of thinking, believing, better thoughts, better beliefs that are going to be supporting you. This is what you can expect to see. Anybody who's going to be doing education, especially higher education, is going to also be in the realm of the swords. So that's the Ace. And again, same thing, all of the numerology is going to be very similar. Ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, with the 1 through 10. Okay, so again, look at the Wands video for that. Next, we have the Two of Swords. And this indicates somebody who is thinking and making a decision. And she's almost doing it blindly. She has the blindfold on, and so it's almost like justice, where there's really weighing of two sides with as much impartiality as possible. In some sense, this is also like a hermit card or a moon card. You do have the moon and the water behind her, so this person is tapping into all of their faculties and, going inside and accessing, even maybe their intuition. Again, swords is a more masculine, it's not meant to be intuition, but with this card, sometimes I really feel like this person is in a good space making decisions for themselves, also with a really good balance of masculine and feminine energies. Sometimes it can be the person has a blindfold on willingly and they don't want to make a decision, that they're delaying making a decision. They're in some form of denial. Not quite so much, again, depending. If it comes up reversed, then like certainly that's what it is if you do reversals. And then again, with the other cards around it will also strongly inform you of what this card's really about. And again, this is swords, so this is about cutting. This is about cutting off. This is about cutting off and healing. If you have, I don't know, a gangrene, or you have a growth, if you have something negative, you can also be cutting off, so that you can be more healthier and move into the future with increased health, less drag, less limiting beliefs. Yeah. Okay. And now we have Three of Swords. Three of Swords is going to hit most people at a very gut level. Even if you're very logical, the symbology associated with this card is absolutely like undeniable. This is heartbreak. Like something went down. It broke your heart. And it's just been very painful to deal with. And there's three, it's intentional. It's one thing to kind of get like accidentally have your feelings hurt, but if somebody or something has been occurring to somebody this much, there's really some imbalances that this is indicating sometimes, or just that there was a very bad heartbreak, breakups, death, job loss, any kind of catastrophic thing will come through. Anything that has grieved the person, could be the loss of a pet, and it can be something that for them was difficult, but maybe like just on a personal level. So a dark night of the soul, just they lost something special to them. It can be anything. And again, if you see this with the Tower card, you give this person a hug and some comfort and assure them that the universe is seeing them and knows what they're going through, and because they have been through it. Okay, they have super duper been through it. If you're getting this with some love, like some of the cups cards and romance cards, it can indicate that there was a breakup or betrayal. Sometimes with the threes, especially people who specialize in more romantic readings, twin flame, soulmates, they will indicate this as a third party, that there was cheating or something like that. I don't tend to have those readings, but I know that that is a thing. And again, this is expansion. So sometimes this can be, there's too much knowledge that the person, it's at conflict with what they know emotionally. A lot of times I think that the swords get a bad rap because it's very intellectual, it's very logical, and that can really fly in the face of our lived experience. If, we believe that life is supposed to be fair, we can find out that life is not fair oftentimes. So that knowledge, as we're expanding and learning and growing into life, can really be like some harsh revelations about the deeper truths of what life is like. If you're an intuitive person, you're very compassionate, or if you have just a lot of knowing, a lot of that knowing, the ignorance is bliss. So maybe sometimes this knowing can really be painful to you, can be distracting. Some empaths that I know just get constant contact from the other side, from people at the grocery store. So, the expansion and that collision between emotions and logic can be very difficult for people. So in one way, it can be positive because it means that there's growth occurring. But again, that's also maybe popping the bubbles of some illusion or denial that we may be going through. See the blindfold. So yeah, but again, this is definitely a very painful card. And we have with this Cardinal Air Energy, Ace 2-3. Oh, what is it, Libra? So Libra is going to be the astrological sign associated with these PIP cards. If you're looking for information on who you're dealing with, that can be a way to do that. Moving on to 4 of Swords. This indicates that somebody's taking a rest. It looks like a coffin, but it's a beautiful coffin. It's like in a church where there's stained glass. There's 3 swords above the person. There's 1 sword underneath. This is a card that oftentimes I have had a lot of strange intuition, especially if it's reversed. I mean, because like the swords look like they're going to hurt the person, like they're hanging and they could drop. It does indicate that somebody's like setting down weapons. Like this pain of the 3 of Swords has been set down, and this is rest. So again, when you have these active male energies and they're stable, generally people like that. We don't like male energies overactive and out of control. And so this also can indicate with the number 4, stability, especially if you look at sacred geometry. And when you have stability in the way that you think, it will bring rest, serenity, and peace to you. Number 5, again with these clouds and the illustrations that Pamela Coleman Smith did, very inspired. This is also some change and some growth, and there has been an encounter and somebody has won, and then there are losers. So this winner is gathering their swords. It's not a bloody battle, but there was some conflict and somebody won. So there was words, there was an encounter, there was, a battle of wits, a battle of wills. And so it also can really be like maybe a falling out. There was conflict, and yeah, you won, but it's kind of like a hollow win because what did you lose? Again, depending on what cards show up with this, and I'm sorry to be a broken record, but that is why we read cards and spreads, not just individual cards. And 6 of Swords, I really love this card. This is about, again, stability and balance and when it's time to move on. This is going to be, again, more of the middle ground of some maturity. This is thought processes are mature, communication processes are growing in maturity. Sometimes it's time to move on, and sometimes when you're cutting, again with that sword, you're cutting things off, and it's time to move, burn the bridge, walk forward, move forward, and go on. And again, this is another card where water plays heavily in it. So there's a passage, it's an emotional passage, it's good, it's healing. This is a lot of depth to this card in my personal experience. Can be sad, again, depending on what comes with it, but it's not like, quote unquote, a bad card to me. And 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I want to say this is Aquarius energy, fixed air. I think I might be getting Gemini and Aquarius mixed up. But this fixed air energy, 4, 5, 6, is going to be the fixed air energy of the zodiac. And I'm pretty sure that's Aquarius right now. I think. I'm not sure. Somebody fact check me and put it in there. I'll look it up and put it in the comments. And moving on, we have 7 of Swords. So again, with the numerology developing, we're getting more depth, more maturity, more completion. Cycles are winding down. They're coming to a close. This is just such a very funny card to me. Generally, it means somebody who's lying or conning or swindling you. There's a dishonesty of some sort. This person's kind of like stealing swords. It looks like they're running away from a circus or a tent or a town. They think that they're getting it over on people, but generally this is not like a good karma card that you want to be, not a good card of karma that you want to be doing. And it can also be used like shrewdly, so you're being like wise or smart, like you're smarter than somebody else. But again, when you outwit somebody, same thing with this 5 of Swords, it's not always perceived or taken well by people. So, and again, depending on how dishonest you are, because again, this does have to do with logic, intellect, truth, facts, communication. If you're conning people, that's kind of risky business. You'll get found out. And 8 of Swords. Again, we have stability, and this one indicates that there's too much stability. So it looks like there's a woman tied up and bound with a blindfold on, and she's surrounded by swords. She's kind of got some puddles of water. There's a big landscape in the back, like a big castle on a hill. So she looks victimized. She is not. She's choosing to be here. And so again, when we talk about denial and logic and facts, and there's things many times in life we don't choose to see, or we choose to stay in a victim mentality rather than move. And so with this card, it looks bad. It doesn't look good. But at any point in time, she could free herself, take the blindfold off, and just walk away. She's not actually trapped. So she's surrounded by it, but she's absolutely more than able to get out of it. Also, those puddles of water to me indicate there could be some confusion with the emotions, and she could be a little bit stuck or emotive. There could be some emotional reasons for what's going on. So we don't always have like a really it's always a blend of things. It's never just either or, and finding that nuance between things can be, can be part of the trick of being a tarot reader. And then we have 9. 9 is worries, insomnia, staying up late at night, just not able to sleep. This is not a good card. A lot of difficulty. And again, depending on what comes with it, this could be like a really legitimate card, or, a lot of times because it has to do with thoughts, we make our own trouble because of the way we think. And I think that's one reason why the Swords gets a really bad rap, is that we tend to create our own problems by the way we think. We think, and then we have a negative emotion tied to that, or we think wrongly, and then we have, especially if you're doing law of attraction, then you have manifestations that you don't like that come back to you. And so these thinking issues really can be our own doing, and we feel victimized by them, but we're really not. It's just we need to manage ourselves better. Alrighty. So the astrological sign, okay, I think is Gemini. I think Gemini is the air mutable air sign for 7, 8, 9. So if you get these, you could be dealing with the Gemini. Which, love you Geminis, but I've met a couple of you, and that's kind of how I feel when I'm dealing with you. And this is making me crazy, so I'm going to look it up because there's nothing I hate worth in an educational video to not be educating you. Thank you for holding. While we get our results back, I'm going to also talk about the Ten of Swords. Again, most people are going to have an immediate and visceral experience in reaction to this card. Let me see. Gosh, you get a lot of other stuff. It is Gemini. Thank you. Okay. So yeah, Aquarius is 4, 5, 6, and then Gemini is 7, 8, 9. Okay. So again, this is going to have some of the Gemini mutability on it, but it's a 10, so it's really about a transition. It's really about 9 is really the biggest number that you can get to before you have to start over. 10, when you get a 10, it's done. 10 of Swords, it's done. It's not coming back. This is going to come up with the World a lot. You're going to see some aces come up with this card because it's done. It's not coming back. Maybe you have a death card, a 13. But, you know, to me, the death card is about transformation. Yeah, there's letting things go. But this is, and again, this is not like a happy ending. This is something that really... there's just no coming back from it. There's nothing redeeming. This can be a very reassuring card if you're going through a divorce, I will say. And when it's done and you can finally lay it to rest, seeing this card feels really good. So again, there are some times where this will be welcome to know that this has been final. We are done. This is over. But again, even if it's something positive, this card usually comes along with a lot of emotional turbulence and like life situations that are very turbulent for the person. Because you don't get to this level of doneness without having gone through some hardcore shit, frankly. Again, you're going to see this with the Three of Swords. You're going to see this with some Tower cards. The World card maybe. There's going to be some other cards because sometimes people get dramatic. Sorry, it's true. And they will feel like this has happened. They'll feel this way. They'll feel this way. They'll feel this way. And then the tarot's going to rat them out to you saying this person is just not handling their business and they need to get real and they need to level up. People don't like those readings so much, which also is where your skill as a reader comes in to be able to communicate with people. So what can we do to get better? What can we do to move through this? How can we, you know, what needs to change and how can we do that? Who's out there supporting you? What guides might you have to support you? The great thing about air is how fast it can change. That's its strength as well as its weakness. So if there's somebody caught up in a really nasty air energy, it's all in their head. It is literally all in their head. And so all they have to do to change it is to change that thinking. If somebody's super stuck, you can go into their body, and I don't mean you, but you can lead them through a process of going down into their body where they're feeling things, connecting to earth energy, and that will usually clear things up right away. And you can ask them what actions they can take. Take it into a fire energy because then they can be moving forward. Generally, going into the water or add their emotions is not going to be because they're already super emotive if they're that far gone, if it's gotten that bad. And their water emotions are going to be very dependent on the air sword energy. And so when you change the air sword energy, because water's so receptive, it's going to immediately almost change and become better, higher vibration, happier, more serene, letting go of that conflict, releasing. And sometimes, like, that's what I really love when I'm doing a reading with somebody is when they come to me just downtrodden. I mean, you can just feel it on them. You can see it on them. They're telling you about it. You can see it in the cards. And because if you're a skillful reader and you are reading for encouragement and for truth and for them to take active, like proactive, actual steps in their lives, and sometimes all it is tarot just provides them validation. It just tells them, hey, the universe is seeing you. You're not alone. You're not out there unprotected, and the universe has a handle on what's going on in your life. And here's some validation. Sometimes it just is only that. That's enough. But then also giving them that help and proactive steps and more information, they will just drop that weight, and then they are automatically more buoyant. They start smiling, they start relaxing, their body posture changes, and that's when you know that you've helped that person in that minute for the next stage of their journey, just that next step. The tarot reader is not there every day. They really shouldn't be. I really don't read for people more than once a week. I've never even been called upon to read for somebody more than once a week. Monthly is a really good thing to do if they've got something going on, maybe every 2 weeks if they are in the middle of a really thick process. And if they need more help, then I would do like an oracle, which is designed to be more supportive and more helpful. But you're not going to be there every day. As a tarot reader, what we're there to do is just help them with that next leg of the journey, just that next step. Hardly anybody comes to a tarot reader on a good day. And so if you're helping smooth that transition, you're helping to, if they have guilt, if they're carrying an emotional load or a mental load, or if they have questions or troubles, or if they're really confused about something, that clarity and you helping to straighten out that vibration, give them some comfort, giving some information and practical tools, that's really all you need to do in that moment. And again, it's really the universe's job with that person. This person's creating their own manifestation. You're creating your own manifestation, and you're just providing the best service you can. And you cannot help everybody. Some people do not want to be helped. Talking about this Eight of Swords energy, if you have somebody that is refusing to come out of it, sometimes you have to walk away as a reader and know that you did the best read you could. I believe that is just the job of the tarot readers. Do the best read that you can in that minute. And that's really important, especially when you're new, because you will give a different or a better reading on a different day, especially if you're having an off day. And that's okay, and that happens, and you can still be a good reader if you're having an off day. But some people are committed to this way of life, and for some people it is a way of life, and you can't help them. Everybody's on their own path and their own journey, and you offer what you have to the universe and to humanity in the best spirit with the highest love that you can, and then you release that. So people will want to get you triangulating with the universe. Don't have it. Always put it back on them as far as what they want, and that's another reason why I really make my readings proactive, because it puts the power in their hands about what they want to do. And just because I'm telling them something doesn't mean that I'm right. It doesn't mean that that's all there is to know. It means that's what the universe has chosen to show me in that moment about them. And that's assuming that I'm hearing correctly. And that's assuming that that person's ready to hear what I have to say, because sometimes I feel like there's a lot of truth on the table, and you need to feel out your querent to know if they can really hear that. Or not, because if you give them more truth, especially when you're talking about swords, if you're giving them more truth and they can accommodate at that moment, it's going to hurt them, not help them. And so this is where this intuition and being a people person, having your empath skills going on that day is going to really help you, because this is where the rubber meets the road. As far as again being helpful and actually reading for people, or reading for yourself. And it's okay to sometimes say, I didn't like this reading and I'm not ready for this right now. Like, I hear you, I see you, okay, but I'm going to put some space here and I'm going to go away and think about it, and then I'll come back again later and see like what comes up. So those are some other tips too for reading for people. Thank you for attending the pre-class learning on the Suit of Swords, the Pips.